You read the title. Let's get into it. How to be top 1% in anything you do. So, I originally come from the music industry as an artist, producer, sound engineer, performer. And at one point, I was in the top 1% of artists on Spotify. You need 100,000 monthly listeners to be in the top 1% of artists on Spotify. And I was able to maintain that for a certain amount of months. But then I slowly transitioned out of the music business. So it's top 1% there at one point. Then uh, during around COVID time, I was incredibly broke. I was sleeping on a basement floor. I was sick. I was drinking all the time, going back and forth from home in my studio job. I just had enough money to put gas in my car and make my car payment. So I was basically paying to work so I could get to work and go back home. And my life was just a total mess. And I was trying to figure out my life. And I stumbled upon being able to manage content creators in the OnlyFans business. And I ended up being incredibly good at it and made a lot of money there. The creators I worked with all broke into the top 1% at some point. So it's top 1% there. Took on a boxing fight. Actually stepped in the ring. Majority of men, less than 1% of men will ever step into a boxing ring. Majority of men can't throw a punch properly. So I would say I'm 1% there. So there's all these different aspects of my life that I aim to be the top 1% in whatever it is I'm doing. If I am aiming to do something, I want to be at least in the top 1% of it. And if you're aiming to do something, you should also want to be in the top 1% of it as well. Also a top 1% earner, right? When I went from being incredibly broke, within a 2-year span, I made over $1 million, turned myself into a 1% earner. Well, top 1% earner. So that's a little bit about me and why I can talk about this at all. Now, firstly, when you're looking to break into the top 1% of something, you need to look at the numbers. Obvious thing. So for instance, podcasting. I started this Dyer Dialogues podcast thing. 90% of podcasts do not pass 3 episodes. So when you look up the stats for things, you'll actually be incredibly surprised how easy it is actually to do things. People are just afraid. People have blocks in the way. People have all sorts of mental emotions in the way that prevent them from doing things that are frankly simple. 3 episodes of a podcast. I did that in 2 days. Recorded 3 videos. So that puts you in the top 10%. Now, only 1% of podcasts record 21 episodes or more. So I passed 21 episodes. I'll be in, at least in terms of volume, top 1%. So you got to look at the numbers. When it comes to money, depending on the country you live in, how much does it take to be in the top 1% there? And a lot of the times, the numbers will surprise you because it's not as high as you think. So you got to do the numbers. Now, when it comes to this whole top 1% thing, usually I'm referring to things that require you as a person, your personality, your skills, your ability to put something into the world, your ability to influence people, your ability to draw people to you, customers, fans, whatever it is, because the ways I made money in my life all had to do with that. They basically all had to do with aura and magnetism and putting yourself out there. So in the music industry, I was putting myself out there, putting my music out there, letting people know who I was. That allowed me to be in the top 1% on Spotify. When it came to the OnlyFans business, I was in the shadows, but the creators I worked with had to be magnetic and be out there. Now, yes, of course, their looks make them more magnetic and draw people to them, but that's not the only thing that makes you win. There are 3 things you can leverage if you want to break into the top 1% of anything. There's 3 things you can leverage: volume, quality, and charisma. So I'm going to talk about all 3, and they all kind of link together. So volume. In the music industry, there's a lot of artists who don't do enough volume, whether it's releasing enough records or having recorded enough and spent enough time making music to be very good at it. So at my first job, I was 15 years old And I got a job working for a community center painting murals in the summer. It was a pretty cool job. I got it through a program called Tropicana Summer Jobs for Youth. I took all the money I got from that summer job. I bought myself a computer, an audio interface, and a microphone. And I started recording music, learning how to record music, learning how to write songs properly, becoming a better producer, becoming a better engineer from the age of 15. I had this studio at my house. I could put in way more reps than other people. It was actually very surprising to me when I got a job as a sound engineer later on in life that people just didn't have studios at home. It was very surprising to me. I'm like, yo, you guys are spending thousands of dollars a week when you could be doing this at your home. It's like having the gym at your house. You can get more reps in. So volume to get good at something. Also volume in terms of if you produce content for your business, for instance, and need advertising and that type of stuff, volume, putting more out into the world. That's one thing that'll break you in the top 1%, but it's not the only thing. Second thing's quality. Some people leverage quality incredibly to the point where they don't have to do as much volume. So it's the whole argument of quality versus quantity. And there's a quote. It's often misquoted. Well, sorry, it's often the credit is given to the wrong person. People often credit this quote to Napoleon, but it's actually from Joseph Stalin. And, since people think Joseph Stalin is a terrible, evil, wicked man, and Napoleon is less of a terrible, evil, wicked man, I think people have somehow got confused and credited this quote to Napoleon. But the quote is, quantity is a quality in itself. Joseph Stalin said that. You can get better quality if you do enough volume because you will learn faster. But there are some people that just make quality stuff. So if you make content, for instance, right? What's quality? It's subjective. That's the problem. It's subjective. Oh, do you have a nicer camera? Do you script your videos better than everyone? Do you have a more fantastic hook and open loop and blah, blah, blah than everyone else? It's very subjective. I'll give you an example. There's an artist I worked with in the music industry when I was recording. His name is Northside Benji. He's done pretty well for himself. Northside Benji recorded a song with me called Confessions. And I think the next day or that same night, he recorded the song, he shot the music video, and the music video came out like a day after. And that song blew up. Some of you may have heard it. That song blew up. Here's the thing. That song wasn't even mixed, so the song wasn't finished. I recorded the song. It sounded good enough to Benji, and he put it out. So quality is subjective because to me, that song, it was not done. To him, he was like, this is done. I'm putting it out. Wasn't mixed, wasn't mastered, nothing. It was just recorded. But people love the song. So quality is subjective. No one can really tell you what's quality. Even people are always talking about give value, give value. Value is subjective. Value is based upon how someone feels after they listen to you or get something from you. It's based upon how someone feels. It's all subjective. So it's very difficult to measure quality. But if somebody is quality to a vast majority of people, they can leverage that and get into the top 1%. The third thing is charisma or aura or magnetism, character, pizzazz. You know what I'm saying? Some people can leverage charisma to such a level that they don't have to be high volume and they don't have to be high quality either. People just like them. They have aura. They have that glow. They have that X factor. They have that magnetism. The thing is, people want to rely on charisma and neglect the other two things. They want to neglect volume, doing enough, and they want to neglect quality, as in getting better at what you do. They think that, oh yeah, everyone's just going to love me because I'm charismatic. Well, what if you're not? If you're not charismatic, you're going to have to rely on volume and quality. So don't ignore those things. I actually want to run a workshop or a cohort or something on aura and magnetism and that type of thing, because I feel like A lot of people don't understand it, but it can be taught because it was taught to me. It can be taught. But yeah, those are the three things you can leverage to get into the top 1%: volume, quality, charisma. Next, if you want to break into the top 1% of whatever it is you're doing, you need to pick the right thing. You need to pick something that you value enough in order to do the amount of volume, in order to care enough to make it good quality, in order to keep going. Because listen, you can get into the top 1% fast if you are diligent and focused and accurate and speedy and enough and catch timing. You could do it very quickly, very fast. But you're not going to put in that energy if you don't care enough about it, because you don't know your values. So to know what you value, get my value finder tool. Link is in the description below. It's free. And if you value something that you can measure, you can break into the top 1% of it. So if you value business, actually value business, you're going to care enough to deal with the downfalls of business and the highs of business. But you're going to push through even when it's hard. So you can break into the top 1% if you do that. And top 1%, like I said before, if you break down the numbers, it's not crazy. You just have to be better than 100 people. If there's 100 people in a room, you just need to be number one at something. It's not crazy when you break it down, really. But you got to pick the right game. You got to be in the right game. My entire life, I have dealt with things that have required me to put myself out into the world and to be able to speak and to be able to get a message across. From music to managing in the OF business, having to take the performance skills I had and teach girls how to be more magnetic, even if they were good looking, because there's tons of good looking people everywhere. So take that, and then taking those same skills to YouTube. But that's because I value some sort of element of this. I value teaching. I value putting my thoughts into the world. If you don't care about that, you're going to have a hard time doing what I do. You might care more about fitness and you might have a top 1% body. You understand what I'm saying? So don't get into something or get into some niche or do something that's not really aligned for you because you see other people succeeding at it. That's actually a perfect way to fail. When I started making money, right? You know, when I finally got off the basement floor and had my first 6-figure year, when I was finally making some money, I had tons of opportunities come up all the time. Oh, Seth, do this and this Airbnb thing and this business here and invest here. And I'm like, no. Why? Because I don't care enough about it. I don't value it. Oh, yo, Seth, there's an opportunity here to make money. Yeah, but I don't want to do that. I'm picking my game, staying in my lane. I don't need to worry about all this other stuff. So if you want to be top 1%, that's what you got to do. Look at the numbers. Go for volume, quality, charisma. You can build your charisma. If you guys are interested in me building or running some kind of aura related cohort, let me know. I might do it whether y'all commented or not because I just want to do it. There is something telling me to create this offer. But anyways, so there's that. And then pick the right game. And you can break into the top 1%. You'll do the work necessary because you picked the right game. You picked something you value. So you'll do the work required because there's always going to be work. And you can do all sort of tricks to make yourself try not to do the work, but eventually you're going to have to do the work. So you might as well pick something worth working for. For me, it was music, then making some money, really pursuing money. Now it's YouTube and helping other people with their businesses. So that's that. That's how you're breaking into the top 1% of anything that you dedicate your mind to. See you in the next one. Peace.